The following program is brought to you by Element 14, the electronics community where you can connect and collaborate with top engineers from around the world. Join now at element14.com/presents.
Welcome back to the Element 14 Enrichment Center. My name is DJ, and today I'm going to be building a security camera in the style of the ones found in Portal 2. Interested? Stick around. That's not a suggestion, it's mandatory.
Amazing hacks. Inspired designs. Each week, Element 14 Presents brings you innovative projects using electronics, engineering, and more.
So the Raspberry Pi Foundation recently came out with this beauty. Now, the actual camera module only includes the sensor and the PCB. So if you want to use it, you do have to buy an additional lens, which aren't cheap, but you do get what you pay for. And we'll see in just a second how high quality the high quality camera really is. For this build, we'll need a few things. A Pi 4, a micro SD card, the high quality camera module, as well as the 6mm lens, a DC barrel jack, a 5V 3A DC power supply, a 5mm red LED, a 470 ohm 1/8 watt resistor, and optionally, a 40mm computer fan. And that's it. So I'm actually going to partially assemble the camera first because I've got the Raspberry Pi and I've got this internal adapter plate. And rather than trying to futz about with this on my desk, why don't I just assemble this so everything's nice and sturdy? And I've already got a mounting point for the camera right here too. So that'll make testing out software a lot easier. All right, so here's my very robust Raspberry Pi test setup. I've got this little 5-inch HDMI monitor. I've got the camera set up, and I've loaded a micro SD card with a copy of Raspberry Pi OS. Yes, that's right, it's no longer Raspbian. They changed it around on us. But I think it is time to test it out. So let me turn that on, let that boot up. Oh, there's that beautiful splash screen. And we should be greeted with the desktop soon. Okay, so we can just ignore these warnings. I don't care about security. No security for me. So I've just got a cut and paste camera test script running in Python. So I'm just gonna hit go right there, and we should, in a second, see from the camera. Now, one thing to note, I had so much trouble with this. This isn't actually the first test, of course. I need to make it work. It needs to work for the camera. One thing that's hard to tell is it's very easy. Oh, one, I will close the aperture. Let's open that again. It's very easy to defocus the lens, and you have to turn it quite a bit to get it into focus. I had to turn it like 15 times just to get into focus. I thought it was ruined or there was something on the sensor, but figured it out eventually. So one little caveat with the high quality camera, but it's just looking great. It's looking really great. So right now it's focused really close to me, but that is good enough for now. It turns out making a security camera with a Raspberry Pi is actually dead simple. You don't even have to write any code, and we're not even going to be using Raspbian itself. I'm going to be using a package called MotionOS, and that's right, it's a full operating system, which means you just download the image, write it to your SD card, and pop it in your Pi, and you're just about good to go. There's a little configuration necessary, but other than that, that's all you need to make your own security camera.
Want to build the project in this episode? Want to download the code? Find the parts list? Want to ask a specific question and know this host will answer it? Simply take out your phone and point your camera at this QR code. This will take you right to all the details you need to get started. We'll see you on the Element 14 community.
Okay, so I've loaded up MotionOS and everything's plugged in, so let's go ahead and turn her on. We should get a quick boot screen here in a second. See all the systems it's loading, all the processes that are starting. All right, that's good. Wi-Fi is gonna work. So it's starting MotionEye, and at some point, all right, so we can see our IP address right here. So I'm gonna switch over to my computer, and we should be able to log in and get a live feed of the camera. So I'm gonna do that. So before I get to finishing this up, I figured I'd take another minute to describe how everything is put together. This is really one of the most electrically simple builds I've done in a long time, but it can still do a whole lot. So you can see we've got the Raspberry Pi mounted here, connected via the camera cable to our high quality camera module. Now you'll notice that this is tilted 90 degrees, but we can adjust that via settings in the MotionOS software. We've got our 5-volt line, which is routed through the tube and into the base that mounts to the wall. We've got the LED, which sticks out the side and is just routed through the side of the body. And we've got the computer fan here at the back. One thing I wanted to do is have some decent ventilation, because having a Raspberry Pi in a nice sealed box is never really good for it. So I added some vent holes around the lens here, and then it just vents the hot air out the back. Now, the design for the camera actually has this huge seam along the edge, which is perfect, so I could just split it naturally right there. But it doesn't have any visible screws for the most part. So in lieu of screws, all these little silver pips you see right here are actually 3mm neodymium magnets. So that makes assembly and repair really easy. So it just pops right in there, which is very, very satisfying. So assembly is not too complicated. Of course, it's going to be complicated as soon as I do that, yeah. But super fun. And I wanted to use more magnets in more of my builds because it's just such a clean look. And, you know, magnets are cool. So I'm just gonna plug in what few wires there are here, and then we'll mount it on my wall and we'll give it a final test. All right, so as you can see, when it's rotated 90 degrees, it looks a bit better. Although through the red, it's a lot more tinted than I would like, but that's what's to be expected. This is why real cameras don't have colored lenses. That doesn't make sense, but it looks really cool for a narrative purpose, and why robots don't have colored eyes either in the real world. But it totally works. It's a security camera, and it looks like the Portal security camera, so I really like it. It can detect motion, it can record videos. I don't really need it to do all this. I don't actually need a security camera. I just want more stuff from Portal, and this is a success, or a triumph, if you will. Well, that is going to do it for myself and the security camera. I hope you guys enjoyed this build as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Now, I hope this also inspired you to pick up a Raspberry Pi and, tinker with some stuff. And if you want to make your exact copy of my build, you can of course always find the files at the Element 14 community at element14.com/presents. Or if you just want to ask me a question, you guys can always find me there. Well, that's going to do it for today. I will see you test subjects in the next one.